Welcome. Thank you for joining me. The session of yoga this morning or today is about sitting at your desk or sitting on a chair and doing poses where you don't need to have a mat, you don't need to have any special props, just your chair and your body. Come into your comfortable seat on your chair. You'll see that I'm sitting towards the front edge of my chair. There's a lot of space behind me, so I can really feel the contact with my sits bones and the chair beneath me. And then bring your fingers under each armpit, the thumbs facing up in front of the arm. And place a little bit of traction on this region, pushing in just slightly with the armpits, relax the shoulders. Take some slow, deep breaths here, breathing in and out. Balancing our breath, balancing the two sides of our nostrils. We tend to breathe either through the right or the left nostril, and this alternates throughout the day. When we bring our breath more into balance, it's a little bit like resetting the clock, and it's a really good breathing practice to do before you've got to do something that requires both analytical and creative mind. And we're breathing deeply into the belly here. Resetting and balancing our breath. You might notice that your breath is now coming through both nostrils. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does. Taking one more slow, deep breath. And as you exhale, release the hands down onto your thighs. And we're going to exhale the head to one side, dropping the ear towards the shoulder. Inhale, bring your head back up to center. Exhale, take the head to the other side. Inhale, back up to center and down to the first side. Letting yourself relax a little more into this, letting the head become heavy. Inhale up to center and exhale down to the second side. We're not pushing or forcing the head, letting the weight of the head bring some sensation to the neck. And as you exhale, let your head drop forward and circle around to that first side. And then circle back again, just a half circle with the head, the front side of the neck circling forward and around. And then back again. And this time take the head back slightly. We're not trying to take it to the extreme range of motion. Forward we can go as far as you want, but as you go back, be very gentle. Don't drop back so far that you make yourself feel dizzy. Circling the head round. Now, if you have a neck injury, you'd be better off with the head upright and turning to one side and then turning to the other. When you're ready to change direction and start to circle the other way. Taking a couple more breaths, a couple more circles. And bringing the head up to neutral. Interlock the hands in front of you. Stretch the palms away. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, lower the arms down. Inhale, raise. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, raise. And as you exhale, curve a little to one side, letting the opposite hip get really heavy. Feel that leg weighting down. And feel the stretch all the way along the side of the arm and the side of the body. Inhale up to center and change sides, curving the other way. Relax the belly. Feel the stretch through the intercostal muscles that are in between each of the ribs. Inhaling up and across to the first side. Inhaling up and exhale to the second side. Inhale back up to center, release the arms down. Give the shoulders a little roll, rolling them forward. And then rolling them the other way. Coming to stillness. Take your hands in front of you, palms facing your chest, round your back. I'm going to turn sideways for this. Round your back. And then as you inhale, tilt the pelvic bone forward and lift the chest up, bringing the hands in. Cat and cow sitting upright. Exhale, round the back. Pull the belly firmly towards the spine. Feel the stretch in the upper back. Inhale, open the chest. Pull the hands towards your chest. Tilt forward with your pelvis. Exhale back. Inhale up. Couple more times. This is a really good exercise to do any time during the day. If you've been desk bound a lot, you haven't got up and moved around. It's great to give the pelvic bone some mobility and to get into that upper back space. It often gets sore when we're sitting at computers. One more time, inhaling, opening the chest. Exhale back. And then bringing yourself back to a neutral position, still sitting towards the front of the chair, so that pretend that I'm on the front. There's a lot of space behind me. My sitting bones are just on the edge, because we want to really have the sitting bones being connected with the chair and we're not slouching. Our pelvic bone is neutral. Then pick up your right leg and cross it over the left. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, twist to the right. You can use the leverage of the chair behind you, or the back of the chair, holding on to that to help deepen the twist. Feel the whole belly revolving. If you don't want to have your legs crossed, you don't have to. If it doesn't work for your body, we're not here for a long time. Most people would recommend that we don't cross our legs, but this is for the purpose of having some leverage to push against for the twist. Each inhale, feel like your spine is lengthening, and each exhale, let yourself sink in a little more. As you next inhale, bring yourself back to the front, uncross the right leg and cross the left leg. Take a breath in and exhale, twist to the right. You can hold the side of the chair behind you. You can hold the back of the chair, wherever it's comfortable for you. Keep the front of your shoulder open. So the space between the two shoulders at the front is very broad. We're not compressing the shoulders together, but lifting and opening. The belly is soft. You can turn your head to look over either shoulder, whichever works better for you. A couple more breaths here, feeling the spine getting long on the inhale, sinking into the twist on the exhale. Inhale, bring yourself back to center, uncrossing the legs. We're going to do some thigh lifts. You can rest your hands on the edges of the chair, or you can rest them behind you wherever it's comfortable. Inhale, bring the right leg up, bringing the knee towards the chest and lifting the foot off the floor. I should have said, if you're wearing shoes, it's a nice idea to take them off for this practice, particularly if you've got heels, so that your foot can be flat on the earth. Breathe into the sensation that you'll be getting down the front of that thigh. And as you exhale, lower that foot down, changing sides, bringing the left knee up this time. Maintaining space and love through the front of the shoulders. Breathing into any space that feels tight. And as you next exhale, lower that foot down. Pick up the right foot and cross it over the top of the left knee. So it's the foot or the ankle that's crossing, not the knee. So this is where we were in full cross leg. This is like a half cross leg. Or making a figure 4 shape with the legs. And from here, begin to roll your ankles, circle the foot. Some mobility into the ankle joint, which acts like a ball and socket joint, but it's not. Pause and change direction, circling the other way. And coming to stillness, inhale, raise the arms up. And as you exhale, come forward a little way. You might find that you're just at a slight angle instead of being upright. You might find that you can come forward all the way and bring your hands to the floor. So it depends on your body. Don't be concerned if you have to stay quite upright. You might have some tightness through your hip. If you have to remain up, then instead let the weight of your hand, not so much pushing, just the weight of the hand, rest down onto the inside of the thigh. Otherwise, you're maybe in a slightly tilted position with the torso, or maybe you're all the way down, forward folding over that leg. So it depends on your personal anatomy. Wherever you end up, let yourself stay here for a few breaths. Soften the belly. Relax through the glutes. Relax through the shoulders. As you next inhale, lift yourself back up to center. We're going to change sides, taking the right foot down, crossing the left ankle over the right knee. And start those ankle rolls again, circling the foot. Notice if there's any creaking, any groaning of your ankle joint. Particularly if you've had an ankle injury, you've been sitting still at a desk for a long time, you might get that crunchy sensation. Pause and circle the other way. And coming to stillness with that ankle. Keep the ankle flexed, and this way we're protecting our knee a little bit better. So there's a slight engagement through the leg, rather than relaxing the foot and letting it flop out. Then there's no support of the knee. When you have that ankle flexed, the knee is much safer. So the 3 options here are just to rest your left hand on the top of that thigh. I'm not forcing it down, just the weight of the hand and the arm is enough often to give stimulation to that hip crease. If that's not enough for you, lean your torso forward, stretch your arms forward as well, so that you're on an angle and you'll get a little bit more sensation into that hip. What we're looking for is to move towards our edge. Some sensation, but not too much. Imagine that you had to stay here for 10 minutes. Take yourself to that place where you're able to stay. And the third option, if you can get there, and you'll notice that my left hip's a bit tighter, I need to move myself slightly to be able to get my hands to the floor. So that's not the best option for me. I'm better off in this halfway place on this side. And notice that both sides are different. But if you want to, you can fold yourself further forward. Maybe resting the hand as I am on one knee and one ankle, not pushing, but just letting the hands rest. If you can't quite reach the floor, but you can come a little further forward, and the arms outstretched is just too intense. Because of course, with laws of physics, having something reaching away from the body and deepening the angle puts exponential pressure on the body. Taking slow, deep breaths in whichever variation you've ended up in. As you next inhale, lifting yourself back up to center, returning that foot to the floor, taking your legs a little bit further apart, the hands behind you, interlock the hands, and as you exhale, fold forward between your legs. Taking the arms up overhead. You can let your torso rest onto the thighs slightly. Allow the back of the neck to be long. As you inhale, bring yourself back up to center. We're going to change the interlock of our hands. So I'll bring them in front to show you. If your right little finger is underneath in the natural position for you to interlock your fingers, then stretch them away and change it so that now the left little finger is underneath. So the palms are still the same direction, but the fingers have changed their alignment. And then fold forward again. This just brings a slightly different orientation to our shoulders. It'll feel a little bit like you're holding a stranger's hand. The more often you do it, the more often you'll get used to it. Relax the head. Keep the shoulders tucked in slightly so the neck's got plenty of room. And as you inhale, begin to bring yourself back up to center. Release the arms, rolling the shoulders. And coming up to stand, you can either use the back of your chair, depending on if you've got a flat surface on the back of your chair, or you could use the top of your desk or a table, whatever you have handy. And we're going to walk our feet back enough that we can bring the backs of the elbows onto the flat surface. So if you think about the elbow tip, it's just sliding a little bit back behind that. That's where we're resting our weight. So the point of our elbow isn't resting down. Walk the feet to that position where they're hip distance apart, and the ankles, the knees, and the hips are stacked one on top of the other. And then let your head rest down between your arms so that the ears are in line with the upper arms. The hands are together in prayer position and the fingers are facing up towards the ceiling. Deep, slow breaths in and out. Take a little bend in your knees if you tend to hyperextend the backs of your knees. Feel the reach of your spine. Each vertebrae lengthening away from the vertebrae next to it. A subtle pulling backwards with your hips, with your buttock region. But mainly we're sinking into the opening of our armpits. These poses are quite gentle. Sometimes when you're in them, you don't feel like a lot is going on. Persevere and stay there as when we come out, you really notice the difference. But they do take time. It's not a get in for one breath and get out and you will feel the benefits. You've actually got to stay here for a minute or two, sinking in, marinating our body in this shape. This is something you can do at home on the kitchen bench. Maybe if you're waiting for the kettle to boil, pop yourself into this position and get a little bit of relief. It's a really good pose for anyone that rounds their back quite a lot and does things in front of the body, like working on a computer, like playing on a phone, holding a baby, breastfeeding. Are all poses that give us a lot of pain in our upper back or can result in pain in the upper back. This pose will counteract that. Come out, let your knees bend and carefully walk your feet forward, standing up, giving the shoulders a little roll, and it's now that you'll really feel the influence of that pose. Rolling the shoulders the other way. We're going to come into a similar pose, but this one is with the arms straight. So place the palms of the hands on your surface, whatever that surface happens to be, and walk your feet backward. Lift through the belly, push down into the balls of the feet, and feel that you're lifting up through the inside of the legs. Let the torso become parallel to the floor. We're not trying to tilt any lower than parallel. We just want to have a straight spine. The feet can be hip distance apart or further apart if that works better for you. So you find the place that gives you a sensation of stretch without pain, without real discomfort. Again, bring the ears in line with the upper arms. Breathing deeply into the belly. Notice the rotation on your arms. Can you bring them slightly into external rotation, like you're trying to hide your armpits? Feel how it broadens across the upper back. Taking 2 more slow, deep breaths here. As you exhale, bend the knees. Let yourself walk forward and releasing the arms again, giving the shoulders a roll. And come into a little quad stretch. So come into a comfortable standing position. Both feet balanced on the earth. Take your focus into your right foot and make sure that that's really centered, cemented down. Bend your left knee and reach down to take hold of your ankle or your foot or wherever you can grab with your left hand. Place a little bit of traction with that hand and arm, pulling back and pushing away with the quad, giving some stimulation to the hip flexor. So this is the exact opposite of what we did when we were sitting in a chair and lifting the knee up. Instead of shortening the psoas muscle and flexing it, we're extending it, making it long, opening it up. And from here, release the hold on your foot, bring that left knee up towards the body. So we're now flexing the psoas muscle. Open it out to the knee out to the side and bring the foot to the opposite thigh or the foot to the opposite calf or the toe to the floor. So you decide. We're just getting some external rotation of the hip. So wherever works for you, I'll just turn slightly forward so you can see how that looks. We're using the chair here for balance, so you can rest your hand on it if you need to. If you're really comfortable balancing here, you could take your hands into prayer position. You could open the arms out wide, whatever works for you. Slow, deep breaths. with a lift through your lower abdomen and the tailbone tucking down softly. Relax both shoulders. And as you next exhale, lower that foot to the floor. We're going to change sides now. I'll move my chair. Take both feet to the floor. Focus your attention on your left foot. Make sure that's really comfortable. Then bend the right knee and take hold of the ankle or the foot. Pulling backwards slightly to get that sense of stretch all the way up the front of the thigh. Really good for us if we've been sitting a lot. When you're sitting, your psoas is in flexion. When we're doing this, we're giving a lovely big extension to it. And again, you're using the chair to help assist you here for balance. But if you don't need it, you don't have to hold on to it. It's just there if required. Notice if you've relaxed a bit, can you pull that knee back behind you slightly? And then as you exhale, bring the knee up in front of you, open it out to the side, and either take the foot onto the inside of the opposite thigh, the inside of the calf, or toes to the floor. So you choose which setting. Try to avoid the knee. We don't want to be pushing into our knees. Knees do not like sideways movement. You can use the chair. You can have your hands in prayer. You can open the arms out. You can take the arms overhead. Do whatever works best for you with your arms. Feel a lift through the lower abdominals, the tailbone tucking down. As you next exhale, let your foot come to the earth. Come back to sit on your chair. Again, sitting towards the front of the chair so that your feet can be comfortably resting on the floor. Place the hands on the thighs. If you need grounding today, if you're feeling a little off center, a little distracted, palms face down. If you need a little bit of assistance from the higher world, turn the palms to face up, inviting in the gifts of the universe. Let the shoulders relax. Let your eyes fall closed. And take some deep, slow breaths. Finding that neutral place for your head to balance right at the top of the spine. So there's no strain in the upper trapezius and the vata, but the head is perfectly balanced. Relax your jaw. Relax your cheekbones. Taking 2 more slow, deep breaths here. And gently blink the eyes open in honour of your practice. Namaste.